Hi everyone, so I'm going to do a Renee Responds video, and this is to Sonya from Sonya the Book Lover. She did a discussion on the new trend of Greek mythology in YA. And of course many people have been responding, talking about the popularity of the Percy Jackson series. And that's of course 100% true, but from my knowledge I've yet to read the series, but I do plan on it. It is middle grade, I believe, in its age bracket, roughly, and also is primarily just the fantasy genre. So I think that can kind of stand on its own merits, rather like Harry can both stand on their own little mountain of awesome. So anywho's, my opinions on the newish trend of Greek mythology retellings in YA paranormal romances. Well, it's iffy. I studied Greek mythology at uni. I had to. It was part of my myth and fairy tale course, and here's my book of Ovid's Metamorphoses. And in here we've got all the doozies, all the good stuff, my favourites being Pygmalion, and what in here is called the Rape of Proserpina, which is the Hades and Persephone myth. They're all in here. It's a doozy. And I enjoy them, and I really appreciate them for what they are. And I know the really stock narratives I know very well, as most people do. And I immediately expected that when I heard about this Greek mythology retelling stuff going on this year, I knew the kind of stories that would probably be tackled. And I could tell you from the very beginning that Hades and Persephone would be number one with a bullet, and of course it is. And I guess I'm more than used to that particular narrative getting used and manipulated to fit a story. I read more than my fair share of Phantom of the Opera and Labyrinth fanfiction, and if you know anything about the relationship dynamics in 99.9% of the fanfiction of those two works, you'll know that it's based around usually Hades and Persephone-ish dynamic, and the good ones, the ones that I usually really appreciate, do explore the notion of Stockholm Syndrome, which, if you ask me, is evident. It's like the first thing I always think of when I think of Hades and Persephone. That, of course, wasn't the point of the myth to begin with. It was meant to explain the change of seasons during the year, and you know, the shifting between autumn and winter and spring and summer. But that's kind of, I guess, the cultural relevance it's sort of taken on since. But what I've been concerned about from day one, especially with that particular myth getting used, is that it's just going to be subverted to fit into the predetermined package that's going on of mass production of these same stories that we're getting, all of which seem to revolve around the, you know, mysterious, supernatural, bad boy, ultra good looking guy who comes in and meets the seemingly ordinary but secretly beautiful, plain, normal, shy, uncertain young girl. And he treats her terribly, and she falls in love with him immediately. And they don't really have a relationship dynamic, but they're in love, and he keeps treating her terribly. She keeps fawning over him, and it goes from there. And, yeah, that's my main concern, is that the actual use and inclusion of the Greek mythology element is going to be wasted, because it's just going to get shifted in there and twisted about, shaken up, and sprinkled about sparingly, just to let you know it's still there a bit, and will probably be bastardized. And I don't know, I mean, I'm being so negative, but the first one I've tried has been falling under by Gwen Hayes, and I got halfway through and had to put it down. I will finish it, I will. It's just so painful. Oy. I knew everything that was going to happen. Nothing new was happening, and everything that happened was pissing me off. We've seen this a million times, and it's so insulting. I don't get it. So I'm just so worried and I am sincerely interested in reading these books. I want to read Abandoned by Meg Cabot just to see how it is. I would like to read The Goddess Test by Amy Carter just to see how it is, even though I've heard some bad things. I've forgotten the title of the novel that is going to be based around Paris and Helen, even though I do hate that story. But I would like to read them. I want to give them a chance. I don't want to be all prejudiced and making all these presumptions without trying anything. But yeah, I'm scared and I'm already annoyed, and yeah, I don't know what to think, and I can't sit here and say that I think it's a good thing. I want people to be able to go out there and just garner an interest in these Greek myths of their own merits. I'd rather not see them get introduced to them in this means. But I mean, you know, it's like people who argue that the inclusion of stuff like Wuthering Heights, Romeo and Juliet, Jane Eyre, any of the other books they tried to sneak into the Twilight series is a good thing. I mean, you can't falter that. You know, I'm glad that they got a mention. I'm glad that they had that ridiculous promotion of those new covers that came out and said Edward and Bella's favourite book and stuff. I mean, at least if it gets people reading these classics, then that is a good thing. But I just worry about how they might be perceived if they're going to get shoved into these narratives with these characters, with these themes that are just so A, boring, B, repetitive, C, worrying in terms of the messages that they promote, the messages and the ideas, and D, half the time really poorly written. It's like an insult. I'm just wondering what Ovid would be thinking. Would he be up there shaking his long beard thinking, what are these people doing? So I'm concerned, okay? I'm concerned. But I'm going to give them a go. I'm going to finish this and then tell you my actual informed opinion on it. It's not awful, it's just not any good. No. I'd much rather just read my fan fiction, because that's well written. Anyway, yeah, sorry Sonya, this wasn't a very good response, but I knew it'd veer into a rant, so I apologise, but I probably haven't made any sense. So, yeah, it's my thoughts. My ill-formed, incoherent thoughts. Greek mythology in YA. I'll give it a go, but I don't have high hopes.